Today we're going to discuss the biggest question in the universe. What are we? Why? I'm hoping that after we have this discussion today, you're going to have an epiphany, and you may just, after this video, see everything completely different. It could bring peace to you, and you may go into a space that's pretty amazing despite all the crisis we're going through. You ready to do that? Let's go. Welcome to Landria Onkka on YouTube, here to help you break through those fears, live an amazing life. What is going on right now? There's fear. Fear. So we could do all kinds of amazing things without going into fear when we do them. What would happen if we didn't have fear? We would eliminate anything that was violent, destructive, offensive, and pretty much injustice. Because people act out and do things really out of fear. I'm afraid I'm not going to hold my position here, my power, or my money, or my control. And so we have these things going on out there for centuries that we use to separate ourselves through fear and then act out whatever we do out of fear. In other words, we use color and financial status and even our intelligence. You know, we revere people who are taller or skinnier or prettier. I'm going to talk about all of those things right now because I hope you have an epiphany today. Okay, this is going to seem a little obvious to some of you, but when I talk about it, we're going to go into a space that's going to hopefully make you think really hard. And yes, we're going to think today, even though awakening, we don't need to think about anything. We don't need the answers. But I thought this would be a lot of fun. The one is perfection. It is unconditional love. It is the essence of everything beautiful and joyful, abundant, you name it. That gets really boring. That is the ultimate of what it is, but it can be everything. It is exploring everything that it can be. Now this is the part that I'm going to add on to here. If you stayed in total bliss, you would know nothing else, and you wouldn't know you were in total bliss. Even if you felt good, you wouldn't know it was bliss. It just would be, and you would just be. And every time you wanted something, it would just show up, and you would be bored out of your brains. In other words, you wouldn't be bored because you would be in bliss all the time, right? So bliss doesn't have boredom. My point being is the one explored everything else beyond what it truly is, because it can, all right? Because it is everything. So everything that you see is it exploring everything it can be. Now here's the deal. The second part of that is that within that, it's exploring what everything, every individual thing, and this keeps going on and on, everything within it does the same thing. A flower is a seed. It then grows and it blooms. It then dies. Everything is just a cycle. Everything is a cycle of growth, new transformation, growth, experience, and then seeming death, transformation again. That's all it is. So here's what's happening with us. We can take it as human beings to extremes. The sun bursts out, is created, and then burns out. Everything goes through a cycle. No one on planet Earth accepts this. We don't accept the transformation. I gotta grab my coffee. Oops, had a little coffee spill there. All right, we don't accept any of this. Total acceptance is one of the, just say, teachings in all of my courses is acceptance. We not only don't accept that we evolve, but we don't accept anything else out there if it's change and that we as the ego don't like it. Now here's what we are. We are the total light and we're the ego, the density. We're exploring all of that. All right, so we get to choose. You cannot know beauty unless you see something unattractive to us. We know everything truly is beautiful. But we can't know it until we go into a space where we're doing all of that low egotistical labeling. You know, it's one of the L's, labels. Until you grow old, we cannot know how amazing it is to be young and to move around freely when people get older and they don't have that. So then they value that. And then we know that happens to each one of us. Nobody escapes it. Be careful if you get cocky about your looks or your age or that person's old. What do you think is going to happen to you? You're not going to escape any of it. That beauty that you had when you were younger, well, it's not going to look the same. But humans don't value that, so they don't see the beauty in the downgrade or experience of the downgrade of the thing that's created. Now here's what I want to share with you. The epiphany is we're just going through the cycles of everything we can be. It is us exploring everything it can be. It doesn't stay in one form ever. So whatever form it goes into, it goes through the cycle of exploration, adventure, everything it can be in here. Then it goes down again and expands into something else. That's all we are. All right, so now I want you to sit and think about this, because as simple as that seems, because it is just that simple, we're making something completely different out of it. And when we battle that, that's part of the cycle too. When we go to a planet, okay, I'm going to take it even further. When we are in a planet of total destruction and possibly destroying itself and all its people, that's part of it too. That's not a mistake. It's exploring that too. Earth is part of the exploration of the worst possible thing that it can create. It's absolutely one of the absolute worst. I can't imagine a planet being worse than this, right? And then the reaction of the other beings who know what's going on here, that's part of it too. Feeling threatened by the separation of itself and seeing what that free will equates to. It's all part of the adventure. Nothing's a mistake. I'm going to tell you why. Nothing is out of the control of the one, because it is it. Your finger's never doing anything without you knowing it, without you directing it. That thought over here. So if somebody didn't know how anything worked and they saw you sit there and all of a sudden your finger did this, they'd say, oh, look it, there's a finger moving. And you'd think, nope, I'm doing it. Right? Doesn't that seem mysterious? If you had no idea what a human being or anything was and you saw this, you'd think, well, it looks like it's connected, but you wouldn't associate my thought with this finger moving. You would just see it moving. It would appear to be independent. I'm doing it. We're never disconnected from this. We're never disconnected. This is never happening without this doing it. This is never happening without this instruction. You are part of the instruction of everything that's going on. All right, I want you to understand that nothing happening right now is by chance. Even though it's chaotic in our world, it's truly not chaotic in the big picture. Chaos means that there's no order in it, but there is. There's order in everything. What's happening right now is our planet is the seed that then bloomed into everything else that evolved, died off, transformed, evolved, died off, transformed. And now we're here. And now we have an opportunity. It's never the same twice. So I want to ask you this. You never die. Everything is born from something else. Energy cannot be created nor destroyed. So you would never want to come back exactly like this, would you? Now you would want to come back as something else. Preferably happier, greater, abundant, healthier, awakened, right? You would want to come back in something higher. And that's what we do as humans. We're constantly evolving into the something higher. Because it is exploring to go back to that, to then explore it again. All right, so this sounds crazy. In some ways, you're like, why would we do this? We cannot know ourselves, the one, unless we explore everything else that we are, that we can be. You cannot know that a sunshine day is amazing. We wouldn't even know it if we had never seen a cloud. We would have no idea that that's amazing to have a sunny day. Ask anybody from Michigan. It's cloudy and dark a lot of the time up there. Why do you think people move down to the south to get the sunshine, to get the warmth? That contrast is what allows us to explore everything. This plight of racism, which has gone against, injustice against cultures and religions and sex. I'm a woman. I worked on Wall Street. I could tell you some stories. It's the contrast. And I couldn't have known that had I not been a woman, what it's like to be a woman, or a different color, or a different culture, or whatever else it is. It's exploring that, and you, as an individual cosm, do the same thing. I guarantee you, can't prove it right now, although there are plenty of people out there that say we can prove it, that you have been everything else, beyond even human. Every sex, every color, every situation, you've been burned at the stake, you've been royalty, you've been all kinds of things. Why? Because we are one thing. So if I've been it, then you have too. You've shared in the energy. Not only have you shared in the energy, you are the energy. You have experienced it also. Now, we as individuals can't possibly fathom that because we experience this right here. That's purposeful because you can't experience those deep feelings and make those decisions if you were tuned into Joe's and Sally's feelings and experience and all that stuff. It would be just, it wouldn't be an intimate, unique thing. None of this is, and I'm going to take it to a space where most people will probably find this difficult to imagine. But even all the things that are happening, like those who have come down to raise the frequency of the planet, the teachers, all these things, is still part of the exploration purposefully. The earth didn't go into chaos and now the one is saying, oh, we have to fix it. These human beings here, they're doing crazy stuff because it is it. It is us experiencing what that is. It's experiencing chaos, seeming. It's experiencing something out of control, never out of control. It's experiencing its own destruction of that particular expression. It's purposeful. It's purposeful. So all these things that happen are purposeful experiences to know every possible facet of what it can be, which, believe me, past this planet is beyond human comprehension or imagination. Things that you can't even imagine how things exist. And in the space that we don't see as humans, so much is going on in that space, right here with us, all existing at the same time. You cannot know beauty without ugly. You cannot know opinions like that without going into density and ego, because ego does that. Ugly, pretty. You cannot know youth without age. When a younger person sees an older person whose health is declining and they're looking shriveled up, they now know contrast. I want you to explore and celebrate the contrast. You are the one expanding into everything because it is now knowing what it is. By knowing all the other things it can be, it is the darkness. That is not a separate thing, energy. This is another religious thing. The devil is something separate. Do you think anything evil has power over the one? It's impossible. The one is everything. We know that. So if you know quantum physics, that the scenario of evil versus dark and it's a separate entity goes out the window, because the one is both. This is what the one is. It is absolute light and beauty, knowing its every possible creation, experience. So all the things that we go through are part of it experiencing a low density existence in a human form, and what that's like. And every possible scenario, situation, families, no families, abuse, royalty, beauty, triumph, wars, healing. That's when we tap into, we go into that space. I call it the miracle frequency. That's when we go into the miracle frequency, where we know that, oops, we're really tapping into what we are. And we come out of the density. So the human being is exploring density. That's with the ego. It's purposeful. It was not a mistake. Nothing is a mistake. Now we have free will. So as the one, we get to decide, because we've explored the depths of the worst of everything. We're now going through this cycle. We're going through the cycle of death and renewal. So just like a flower, we were a seed, planet Earth, and it grows and it grows, and all these things come out of it. All these experiences come out of it. What is it? Everything's happening. Now it's evolving, it's going through a death. And that can happen in any form. And then a rebirth. Everything goes through a cycle of transformation and rebirth. Transformation, rebirth into another form. Transformation is when you come from that, whatever you were experiencing, this is the transformation into the rebirth. Transformation is when you go through that into something else. That's all we're doing right now. We're going into rebirth. That's what awakening is, rebirth. So we're going through the cycle, and we get to choose as individuals, still playing out that role. If we're going to join in that, some people will, as the one experiencing certain things, as part of what will happen, not choose. Why? Because what's it like to not choose awakening? What's it like to go into total destruction? What's it like to stay in density and argue with each other? Because arguing about this whole racial thing, it's a low density behavior we've had for centuries. What is it about that that's hard to understand? It has to stop now if you choose to go into rebirth, because that world was the contrast that was unpleasant, beyond unpleasant. I'm using very, superficial words right now. Horrific. Horrific. And people have chosen to experience horrific. Some people have chosen to go into certain skin colors to experience the rebirth of the horrifying things that have happened. And by the way, I might have been one of those people. Probably was. I'm sure everybody has been, every color, every sex, everything. So you as a color now, and I may be a different color than you, may have been reversed back then. Oh, we don't like to think that sometimes. No, you're gonna hang on to who you are. I've never been black. I've never been white. Yeah, you have. Get over it. You know what? We've been everything. Why is that such a bad thing? And that's separation. That's not wanting to believe that we have all been one thing and that we just are one thing. Nothing's a mistake. Everything's intentional, but you have choice within it. So you as the one are experiencing, okay, what if I choose this? What if I choose this? We want to know the sunshine again. We've known the darkness. We've known the clouds. We've experienced the human experience on every level. We are now transforming. We're coming to that transformation stage of the planet to go back into the new earth. Renewal. Renewal. It's not a physical thing. It's never been physical. You are not physical. Everything's an appearance of what it creates. It's just an appearance because we are the one. We are not this. It's just a creation of a scenario that it's playing out. Does this make sense? Can you see everything different? And you know, we've thought of each other as the play. Here's the players. Now I want you to take to this next level and realize we're adventurers. This is part of it. Okay, how am I going to be playing this role? What adventure, what am I experiencing right now? Because I'm going to take that over when I transform. I'm going to take that over with me. So we want to go into renewal. That's what's happening. And then it's going to happen again. It happens again and again and again and again. Until it explores absolutely everything, which is limitless and endless. Yeah. So you don't ever have to experience this kind of pain and the depth of the emotions of humanity. However, you'll know this forever. You may not have known the human experience until maybe, you know, a few hundred years ago. And then you got to experience the human experience. So now the one, knows what that's like. How can perfection ever be sad or fearful? It explored that. You were that, doing that. And now you've been doing it. A few hundred years, flash in the pan. Now we're going, okay, explored, pretty much explored everything now here. So we're going to go into something else. Let's go into renewal. Ooh, this would be really cool. What if we took it to the depths and then we took it out here when we actually had the challenge of pulling out of it? That's a really cool experience. Let's pull out of that. Yeah, let's pull out of density. Let's start to see each other as beautiful and one and say none of that was good or positive or right. It was injustice at its worst. And then we go in here and say, what is it like to come out of that and go back into as a beautiful community? That's what we're doing right now. Play out your role. Go into the new earth. Shift into it. It's happening. The renewal's happening. And then it'll transform again. The sun's going to burn out. Humans don't accept any of this. I'm beautiful. Let's keep it this way. Let's get surgery and shoot up, which is, you know, I'm not going to knock that. Nothing wrong with, you know, with doing certain things and experiencing that. Right? That's a choice. But we don't let that go and we allow our happiness to be controlled by that. The evolution and the transformation of every form. We don't accept that. We don't accept aging. We think it sucks. I think it's amazing. And of course, illness doesn't feel good, but none of you have to be ill. You can actually reverse that or change that. I've done it. You know, I had a spontaneous healing on my foot. Yeah, why? Because I shifted my energy into where I was supposed to be. So, are you ready to just look at everything as an amazing adventure of contrast that's now going into renewal And you're getting to be a part of this. This is so much fun. We get to be a part of that. It feels really good, even though there's underlying, stress and struggle going on, some pain and things going on. There's going to be underlying. That's part of the human experience, because you can't have the triumph without that, right? The evolution. We went from riots into peace here in Atlanta. And now what's going to happen next? Now we have all kinds of things going into place, funds and groups and communities and talking about this. And all kinds of amazing things are evolving. It just continues to grow and grow and grow. And now we're blossoming into something completely different and evolving into that on a higher frequency, higher level. So that'll be amazing. That's the new earth. Then we're awakening. We're awakening. I probably sound like some crazy professor. And then, I see things so differently. If you go into this space, if you see it different, you'll think, oh, that's what's happening. All of this is positive. This is transformation. We're evolving and we're blossoming. We're blooming into something. We're expanding. We're transforming into something really amazing. We can't do that without the virus, without the injustice, without the whatever. We can't know this beautiful thing that is happening on the planet if that didn't exist. This would make no sense, because we'd have blue skies all the time, right? What? What's this? I have blue skies all the time. Why do I need to go into here? Now we know what it's like to not have blue skies all the time. And we're clearing out everything to connect to that, to reconnect to, or we've never lost it, to connect to absolute beauty, because we're going to know the beauty. We're going to know triumph. We're going to know love again. We're going to know love. Before we were just love all the time, didn't know anything different. Now we know it. Now we know what it's like to open up and to let go hatred, judging, arguing. You don't know what you're talking about. It's okay. If you want to stay in that space of anger and having to be right and having the world, listen to you, that's going to be your experience. That's okay. I don't have to listen to it. And I won't. You are whole, perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. Come take my class, my 3-hour class, master class, Shift into the New Earth. It's getting really great reviews. I've had people write me. I won't say his name, but he said, happy, 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 happy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. 3 hours. You can shift that quickly. When you get it, it's like, oh, you see everything differently. You shift into an actual different reality where things seem different because they really are. It's not like, oh, you're off. And somebody called me a Pollyanna. I said, isn't that the person who thinks everything's amazing? Thank you. It was meant to be an insult. Why? Because that person doesn't see the world that way. They see it as evil. That is also a transformation that you can make when you realize it's not. It's experiencing and exploring that, and that you can go into the space where you see what it is. Doesn't have to be pleasant, don't have to approve it, but you accept what we're doing, and that you get to be the change. Somebody said, we're supposed to sit here and not do anything. I said, give me one video when I've ever said that. Don't impose your thoughts on somebody. You take one step. How many times do we just, somebody says one thing and we're on it. You don't even let them finish their thing. That's the ego. Because that's what you're thinking. I'm not going to sit and do this. Well then, you know what? Take action. Everything is yours to create, really shift into. Because everything exists. Please subscribe. I think it's over here. Please subscribe. Please share these. My goal is to hit 1 million subscribers. I also am on a mission to raise the frequency of the planet one light being at a time. And I think it's happening. So many people out there doing it. Also, This is my internet training. People are creating online businesses, selling organic products, holistic products. Some people are being healing coaches. Other people have sites where they show people things that they can purchase that are safe for the planet and themselves. That I can't wait till that one comes out. Like myself, I got that training and it allowed me to create all of this. I would not have been able to do this because I really needed to know how do you put together an online business. Start using your tools, quit complaining and going in fear, blah, blah, blah. If you don't like something, turn it off, right? Go explore what you want. You can't be wrong, and neither is the other person. No more finger pointing, no more separation, no more injustice, no more judging. We're one beautiful thing. You get to choose it. Aren't you ready to go into the new earth? Come join me, Pollyanna, living in the new earth. Your whole perfect, strong, powerful, loving, harmonious, and happy. By the way, I'm hashtag Zen Powerhouse and hashtag Spiritual Badass. I didn't name that. People keep calling me those. Spiritual Badass, I think that's, that's a little woo-hoo. But if you like Zen Powerhouse, you can use that one too. And of course my name, which is just really nothing, isn't it? We're all just one thing. No names. But for now, you'll know me as Landria. Blessings to you, my friend. Namaste.